Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack on Productions. Today I'm Bancroft and being joined by both Fluff and first time to the channel, well, first time on one of these commentary duels, Seth.
Hey, what's up, people?
What's up?
And today we're having our first round of our wing eating competition. Now, Seth, you've chosen the spicy honey barbecue, while Fluff has gone with the Asian zing. And like always, there are buttons for you all to click. I'm not going to ask any more on that, but if you would like to click them, just, they're right there. Click them and take it away, guys.
This is version 2 of Bergamo. Made the tweaks. You saw the profile that came out on Saturday, I think. A lot of fun. And Seth hasn't been to the shop as regularly, but it's always a pleasure to sit across the table. I pretty much guaranteed, like, every time I see you play a black leader, I'm like, this is going to be a lot of crit and a lot of double strike.
That's pretty much what I go for. But yeah, I feel like I've really been relevant in over a year, but I'm trying to learn the new sets, and I always know that you're going to have something super control-y that I'm not going to be able to figure out how to deal with, and I think that's pretty much how this match went.
Yeah, this was a fun match. Speaking of your deck, so one of the things that we do on the channel is just give everyone an opportunity to kind of talk about their deck. What's the goal? What's it do? What's your win condition? What was the inspiration behind it? You mind to go over that?
Sure, yeah. So I was trying to find, like, black's kind of my thing, or it had been in the past, and wanted to go with something that pretty overrealm heavy. I run a lot of the newer big boys. I've got like at least 3 6+ overrealms that I can try to end the game with. A lot of removal, because I found in like the few games that I have played recently at locals, there's always, in most decks, there's at least 1 or 2 problem cards that are going to shut you down. So I've got like secret identities in there. I've got the old Super Saiyan 3 Bardock that does a 6 or more removal.
Oh, the old, from the very first tournament.
Yeah.
Like special print kit. Yeah, I love that card.
Yeah. So I was thinking of like Red Broly when I put that in there. And then, I went ahead and threw in some of the new Xeno Goku 1-drops, because I was finding with this deck that I was just not having things to do with my energy because it's so overwhelm heavy. And I thought that it might offer a little bit more pressure and maybe make the opponent use some resources in trying to get rid of them. But yeah, I'm trying to get the drop full all the time. So I run the Human Extinctions. I run the Gravy that, fills up when you combo, fills up the drop area. I've got the Revived Ravager in there that, is basically a free overwhelm. It puts the 3 back in the drop, but that's pretty much the basis of it. I want to overwhelm every turn. Yeah. And yeah, hopefully I've got stuff to do with my energy in the meantime.
Yeah. You played this 1-drop Goku, and I was thinking this was from the set 12. This Goku gets unbelievable against certain decks. Like, he can become a huge threat.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, his auto is not once per turn.
Nope.
Right. So he can just become like a 45,000 double strike.
Yeah, he can. As long as somebody doesn't have weenie response, you can be a pretty big hitter with him. And you can I think he is, if I'm not mistaken, he is unique. So it's not, you can't just, put 4 of them out on the field, but
God, that would be broken. You did something that I don't like very much.
Yeah.
Playing Bergamo, you put me down to 4 life, essentially on my first turn.
Yeah.
So it puts me in a really weird position, because I want to have the time to kind of set my field up. I want to awaken on turn 3 when I go off, so I get the max value out of that awaken turn.
Yeah.
And you just kind of said, nope, I'm going to double strike you. And if I would have to combo highly valuable cards out of my hand if I wanted to not take that. So
right. Yeah. I'm not, I'm pretty much anything I play, I'm like a face roll. Like I don't know, I'm not too good in anything but aggressive decks, and so yeah, it's typically what I go for pretty much every time. But sometimes it gets me into trouble.
It's an aggressive type of format.
Yeah.
Where aggression is kind of rule. I mean, top decks, Red Broly, Dark Broly, the Black Gogeta from set 12 fits that role. I think Majin Vegeta, Bergamo, even though it's control, you didn't get to see it really go off, but it can amass like a 12 to 16 card board.
Yeah, you had mentioned that in the game, and this was my first time playing against Bergamo, and when I read your leader, the only thing I thought it was like, okay, just don't let him get all three of the trio on the field. And but yeah, you were able to, I think we'll see it coming up. I was able to wipe you once, but then after that, I couldn't get out any more removal.
Yeah.
But yeah, your deck is as like par for the course with you, man. Like your control decks are, once you get your thing going, man, it's pretty oppressive. It's hard to get around.
I find it incredibly difficult to play decks that don't have a control element to them. Like if it's just a wreck face deck, I almost hold back when I play those. Like I'm expecting to have some control element behind it, so I have to do that. One of the things, I got rid of your Unison there because this deck hates Unison aggro.
Mm-hmm.
And the Vegeta is not a terribly aggro card, but that can be problematic once I attempt to set up the field. So I just didn't want you to be able to keep that at all.
Yeah, and I did have, I don't know if it showed it, but I did have a Gohan, Super Saiyan 4 Gohan Unison in my hand also. And I when I saw your leader card, I thought that you're probably going to be playing cards out with non-keyword skills. So that's why I went with the Vegeta. But I don't think he really lasted long enough to make much of a difference.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I just rushed through him as much as I could. I saw you were out, you were tapped out. I don't think you had Sparking 5 available.
Nope.
So I felt pretty confident in just being able to swing through him. Even though I'm not touching your life, I'm just trying to keep cards that are going to be problematic for me down to a minimum.
Yeah, and I feel like I failed to mention here on that first turn, I did not take a life with my swing like I was supposed to, and that's just because I'm a dummy. There was no like, I definitely would have if I would have thought of it. But
we all miss it. I mean, you'll see in my game against Jimmy, I guess that'll come out tomorrow, I make a huge misplay that is very comparable to that, where I feel like it just ultimately cost me the game long term. And just those little nuances of, forgetting to do your leader, organizing your turn the correct way is so important right now in the game, because it's not just most decks are not A, B, C, D play style. There's a little bit of wiggle room and positioning. It's almost, this game is very chess-like in the sense that it really comes down to just positioning your opponent into a position of being able to kill them.
Yeah, and I don't think, I don't by any means think that if I would have, I think I could have awakened a turn earlier if I had taken that life, but the way this game plays out, I don't think it would have made a difference in the final result. Once you got established, I didn't see any removal, and the removal that I was potentially going to see would not have removed barrier, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe your one Bergamo had barrier.
Yes, later when I do get them out. Right now they're all pretty, they're all pretty fragile. The secret identity mass Saiyan really hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
And the 3 cards that were on the field were likely going to be just combo pieces later. But still, getting rid of 3 cards for 0 energy is always good.
Yeah, I guess my thought process behind it was like, if I can wipe it early, it might stall you out enough for me to get enough pressure to get you down. Which a lot of people don't think you should play like those bigger overwhelm cards that early, but that's always been my thought process. Whether it's right or wrong, that's kind of just my process.
It put me in a position where had you played anything else, I would have probably comboed out of it. But since you already made me lose 3 cards, I wasn't willing to sacrifice cards in my hand.
Yeah.
To do it. One of the problems that I had is I would have liked to have been able to Xeno on my Awaken turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then Awaken have 2, but I was digging for Xeno, and I remember in this game yelling back to Bancroft. I was like, seriously, on camera again, I can't find Xeno.
Yeah.
You've been having real fun with camera games lately.
Dude, every, like, this was going to be the last weekend that I played Bergamo, and I think I'm going to play it again next weekend, because every match, like I run 2 black cards in the deck, and I run a total of like 6 yellow cards in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think off of the Xeno charge, I charged 2 blues all night. And, like, it just sucks.
Yeah.
Constantly missing on the Xeno hit and turning my super combos off for the turn. Like, it just sucks. Or not being able to see that one piece. Like, I think every game I drew, like, 4 Comfrey.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't see, like, the Mark of the Wolves. I think I had it here. So I was able to Comfrey, Mark of the Wolf, and then search in the deck and pull out the 2. But just not seeing critical combo pieces throughout the game really changed the course of a lot of my matches this weekend. And I run probably one of the most consistent decks outside of Red Broly that was there Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And just not seeing those pieces, even with all the filter the deck has, drives me nuts. And I just need that redeeming factor, so I'm probably going to play it for another week.
Yeah, this play here, when you were able to get this going here, even though I'm at 8 life, I definitely felt the trouble. Knowing what was in my hand, knowing I didn't have any more removal, and also not knowing exactly where it went from here. I just knew that you're wide, and knowing that that's essentially a deadly defender, the Bergamo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was feeling the burn a little bit at this point.
This is it. It's such a huge tempo swing for this deck to be able to resolve that Mark of the Wolves. It almost makes a huge. It literally is the difference between being able to close the game out and not being able to close the game out. You have to be able to resolve those like twice.
Yeah.
To really utilize the full function of this deck. And I think I resolved Mark of the Wolves once all week. Or something like that. Like, it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and we were kind of talking through this, and I was walking through the cards with you. And I was just afraid that you were going to like play something, because when they're played this turn, they don't have barrier yet.
Right.
So if you have something that is like a counter that turns their skills off or rest modes them or blows them up, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So swinging here felt really risky against you. And ultimately it was okay, but it still felt kind of hard.
Yeah, I was lucky in the sense that I drew into every instant transmission Kamehameha counter that I had.
Yes.
And so obviously that's great just for the counter, but it's fueling up my drop. And so I'm thinking, okay, if I find removal, there's no problem with my drop being big enough. I think but as we were, go ahead.
You saw 4 of those over the course of this game, I think.
Yeah, I run 6, so I was really hoping no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I saw all 4 of them. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was really like it's good, but I also feel that pain seeing like all 4 of one card, you know, over the course of 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And also, to correct myself earlier, I when you went that play, I don't know exactly. I can't see exactly what my life was at. It definitely wasn't at 8. I said 8 previously, but it was lower than that for sure.
I think it was 7.
I haven't messed with the life yet, so what you're seeing is not what's gonna be in the final version. You're at 4.
Yeah, that's kind of what I just realized. But yeah, so yeah, even more so that play going wide there was like, ugh.
And that's the only thing that I was sitting there, because I think you burned 2 of those counters there, or those counterattacks.
Mhm.
And then I think you also burned a max power, or you milled a max power. I couldn't remember. So I'm sitting there counting. You've charged a max power. There's another max power in your warp currently. You've burned 2 of those. What are the chances that you have 2 or 3 more negates? And I start trying to formulate how I'm going to just blow you out.
Right. Yeah, and this one I only run 2 of the max powers, so that was it for those. While you were sitting there formulating kind of the structure of my deck, I was thinking, swing, hit, kill, no, oh, bad. Okay.
Yeah, so many people don't realize that buff on Bergamo is cumulative.
Yeah.
So they'll swing, he's 20, and then I'll say, okay, he's 25, and they'll combo to 30, and then I'll combo 2 cards, and then they're like, okay, and then they'll swing again, and I'm like, 30, and then and then that's usually when people realize what he does, where he gets that cumulative, defense. And if I have a Sensu Bean to throw at him, after the first attack, he's at 30.
Yeah.
And he's so hard for a lot of decks to get over. I think Dark Brawly can get rid of him fairly easily. Red Brawly can get rid of him fairly easily.
Mm-hmm.
Gogeta just wrecked him. Like, when I played Matt's Gogeta last weekend, Matt had so many cards that just ignored barrier, that just ate him before Matt would swing into him. Mm. So I wasn't able to rely on that as much.
Right.
I baby hatched here, not because I really felt like I was in danger, but I wanted the big body to try to push this next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main reason that I did that. Not so much for the negate aspect of it, because typically I think I would have rather saved that for a more integral turn.
Right.
But I felt half confident in my ability to try to push you out, either to the point that if I couldn't kill you next turn, I was going to try to get you down to a few cards in hand.
Yeah, and it definitely wasn't something I was expecting. And I do want to say too, and this is always the case playing against you, I had no idea what half of your cards did, and you're always really cool about explaining the stuff or letting me read it. So that's something I do appreciate. Otherwise you could have easily just played these out, and I could have been like, "What's that do?" And you say, "Oh, well, I don't know, man."
No, I can't stand people that are coy or, kind of condescending about how they play their card.
Right.
Or what their cards do. Like, half of the fun to me is all of us getting better at this game. Like, I don't want to just, come in, win. I want people to get better. I like the challenge and being able to think through games. And I want you making informed decisions. I don't want, because if you don't know what's going on, then you're not having fun. And if you're not having fun, the community dies, essentially.
Right.
And so you're such a cool dude. You're always really chill. You play really cool off-the-wall decks, and I just really appreciate playing against you, because we don't get to see these black decks much in our world. So, and I know kind of the other stuff that you have in the work coming soon, I hope, and I'm excited to see you play those, because I've really only experienced you playing black decks.
Yeah.
Did you play the Brawly Height of Mastery stuff?
No, I didn't. I think when I first came to the shop, I was doing just the Goku's Lineage Height of Mastery.
Okay.
Just the OG, and I think it was well beyond its time. So I was kind of just trying to keep it going. But yeah, that's pretty much black and yellow is what I've got experience with. And yeah, hopefully a yellow deck coming up here pretty soon that you and my brother had a hand in. So it should
be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't get a feel for black decks. Like, I have tried to kind of wrap my mind around what they're supposed to do, and I just don't have the mind for them. The once per turn overwhelm, reposition. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I've tried, I've said over and over again that I never understood the Jax.
Yeah.
I understand how the deck plays, but I cannot pilot that deck to save my life.
Really?
Can't do it. I've never won a single game with it.
Well, it's certainly you play decks with that are definitely very technical, so it's definitely not that aspect.
Thank you.
Drop counter on them.
Yeah, so I knew if I could get him into a position where I would swing, he would negate. I could board the baby to have a free triple strike on the field. Well, not free, but I'd be able to triple strike him out.
Yeah.
At this point, he's burned 3 of those Kamehamehas. So, and I see the 2, and I'm like, okay, he's not playing like 7 or 8 counters. So likely he's seen all of them, or there's 1 left in deck or something. And then you drop the 4th. And all I could do was cry inside.
I think earlier I dropped I think I've dropped 2 super combos this turn now. I'm digging for removal. I'm desperately trying to find some removal, and it never came. And I ended up playing the Dark Power Black Mask in a hope to kind of slow you down, which didn't work, and then brought out the Unison just to hope, like, dangle something in front of you to be like, don't hit my life. But yeah.
I was thinking here, because I got you to 1 life. I think you have 5 cards in hand.
Yeah, something. It was either 5 or 4. Yeah, it wasn't much.
So I knew that I was going to swing. No, I didn't have a lot in my hand to combo with, I don't think. But I wanted to put this up to 50 just to see what I could get off.
Yeah.
And I expected you to combo out of this. I figured you would be able to. And I did this twice this weekend. This is how I went this weekend. I ended up swinging, I went in half-heartedly on the baby hatch, and then I'd swing with Xeno and take the Xeno up to like 24.
Yeah.
And win on the Xeno. I think that's how I won my second game too. Because I just was able to do that where I wasn't able to establish my real field. But having those negates it blew me away. That you had all 4 of those, and every time you swung with your lead, I was like, God, here comes Kraken space time. and this is gonna hurt, and I'm gonna be dead. Because you got me down to 3, and I don't think it would have taken anything for you to rip 3 out. If I could not have beat you on that hatch, I think you beat me on the turn.
That might be true, but I felt like I said, after that one play where you started to go wide, in my mind, I was just like, I'm in danger, and there's no way out of this. So.
It's such a wide-based format. So many decks like to do it right now. Or if they don't go wide, they, like Red Broly, where they will just spam multiple attacks out on the field in a turn.
Yeah.
And that is really what the meta is right now. And I think our locals has really, really identified and chewed on that, just because, there's always 1 or 2 Red Brolys. Jimmy's brought Dark Broly a few times. There's been a couple highly aggro green decks, a couple highly aggro red decks. And now, I've played aggro blue decks. I played Janemba and I played this, which is just not heard of in most instances. And then, of course, black, it's like the OG Turles before Turles.
Yeah.
When you look at like what this Goku wants to do in the old like Dark Black Mask, or the Mask Saiyan from set 3 starter or something.
Yep.
Well, that covers today's hot wing eating competition. Hope you all enjoy. It was a mess of a game. With that being said, Seth, we'd like to do something called Last Words. Do you have any?
Yeah. Don't fake the funk on a nasty dunk.
Hey, I like that one.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And with that being said, thank you all once again for tuning in. Don't forget to click those buttons. They're there for a reason, right? Yeah? All right. Fluff, would you lead us out?
Yeah, new catchphrase that I'm going to try out for a little while. We make mistakes so you don't have to. Read your cards, know your plays. Like always, Fluff out.